presenting yourself to the world matters. How others form opinions about us matters. This changes how others perceive you in a really profound way. And this is something that we learn when we are growing up. It's something that we don't always constantly think about on a day-to-day basis. But this is a small piece of knowledge that feels second nature to most. First impressions matter considerably. They influence us as they set the tone for subsequent interactions and shape the perceptions of often others form about us. Human brains are naturally wired to make quick judgments, and these initial assessments often endure exactly this. Whether in personal or professional contexts, a strong first impression can foster trust and credibility, and I think most importantly, positive rapport, paving the way for very fruitful relationships. Conversely, a negative first impression may prove challenging to overcome, and individuals, and you might find it difficult to revive those initial judgments that you've had. First of all, the significance of first impressions lies in the ability to convey aspects of your own personality, your professionalism, demeanor, making it imperative to be mindful of the impressions that we project in diverse social scenarios. We also need to know and need to recognize the importance of initial encounters, which underscores the importance of our own authenticity, our assertiveness, and presenting our own best self to leave a lasting impression on other people. As Ezra McCandless took the stand, this is exactly what she did. In this video, I wanted to explore how narcissists are able to manipulate that first impression that you make about them, how they are able to fool you to see exactly what they want you to see, and how seemingly unimportant part of your daily interactions this is, but this has profound effects going forward. Just a reminder, I am not diagnosing anybody, merely speculating their behaviors and highlighting them so that it can give you an example of toxic behavior, being able to recognize it and how this shows up in daily life matters. And the case that I'm going to be looking at today is Ezra McCandless. I know that this case has been covered quite a bit, but I really wanted to look at exactly that because she is a great candidate of how she was able to portray a different person to who she actually really is. So let's dive into the background of Ezra and how this all came about. Okay, so in 2017, Jason Mengel encountered McCandless at a popular Deracy Delentless Coffee Lounge in Wisconsin, which began as a seemingly ordinary meeting which escalated into a complex and tumultuous toxic relationship. Mengel and Candless swiftly became romantically involved, of course they did, cohabiting shortly after their initial encounter. So in November of the same year, a complicating factor emerged when McCandless engaged in a sexual affair with Alex Woodworth, a co-worker at the coffee shop, while still involved with Mengel. Learning of the affair exposed by Mengel to end his relationship with McCandless, in a surprising turn of events, McCandless reported a rape allegation involving Mengel's friend John Hanson in February 2018. However, Woodworth later refuted McCandless' claim, asserting that the encounter was consensual and she fabricated the rape story to gain sympathy from Mengel. And so you see what happens. Witness statements suggest that McCandless harbored resentment towards Woodworth for not supporting her narrative. And tragically, on March 23rd, 2018, Woodworth's lifeless body was discovered in the backseat of McCandless' car. McCandless, facing charges of first-degree intentional homicide, presented varying accounts of the incident during the interrogation, raising questions about the events leading to Woodworth's death. The case involves a complex web of relationships, betrayal, and conflicting narratives, making it a gripping and challenging legal matter. So what really happened after the murder of Alex? So you see, Ezra testifies that killing Alex, everything went dark and she has to struggle to remember exactly what happened.
I decided then to knee him in the groin, and he drops the knife at that point. Instantly, I grabbed the knife. I started stabbing him anywhere and everywhere I could. I was terrified.
So she goes on to say, I kept saying out loud, what's happening? What's going on? I couldn't get the feeling outside of my head, the visual of the horror and seeing Alex and seeing the blood. She then goes on to say, it feels like I was in a tunnel, like I could only see so much around me. I felt dizzy, I felt faint, like I couldn't catch my breath. So you see, Ezra conveniently forgets kind of everything that happens within that 3-hour period. So you see, what's happening here is a term or something called splitting, which is heavily associated with narcissistic or toxic behavior. The forgetting, the not knowing. And when you're concerning narcissists, the term splitting carries 2 distinct connotations. Initially, it characterizes the narcissist's inclination to perceive themselves as considerably honorable. Any disagreement with this perspective brands you as inherently bad in their eyes of the narcissist. And also your refusal to align with their sacred self-image may trigger a covert assault on your character. Which in this case, this could be the fact that Ezra didn't like the fact that Alex didn't corroborate with the story of rape with John. So it kind of seems that maybe she had to punish him. I don't know. The second form of splitting occurs when a narcissist subsequently segregates a portion of their experience from their conscious awareness. This form of splitting is colloquially known as delusional amnesia. Delusional amnesia shares similarities with unconscious defense mechanism like distortion and denial, but it aligns more closely with dissociation.
And I woke up and I peed my pants and everything. I didn't know what was going on, and he was just laying there, so I started running.
Okay. How come you didn't tell me this yesterday when we talked, Ezra?
Because I didn't. It's too scary.
I know it's scary, but we needed the truth, right?
You see, what a narcissist does is they actively forget their own negative actions from their consciousness, contrasting it with dissociation, where basically the individual unconsciously disconnects from the reality of a traumatic experience to safeguard their psyche.
See, it's better to come and tell us the truth so we know what happened.
Because it's just so scary and I can't get it out of my head.
Conversely, a narcissist may reject anything out of their head that challenges that notion of who they are and what they did. In which case, this is really what Ezra was trying to portray, and particularly to the jury, so that they wouldn't think badly of her, so she wouldn't be implicated in this murder, in killing somebody. She didn't want to be seen as someone who kills people. So they want it, you see, she wanted to portray to the jury that actually it's not her, it's somebody else, and something else is going on. And I'm going to talk more about how the narcissist splits their behavior, how it's very much evident in these types of cases. Like, I'm sure you would have experienced this as well. How the narcissist basically manages to be a different person. And it's even when they're called out on this behavior, they're still a different person. So basically to show that you have got it wrong, or you have completely imagined the whole scenario. When the defense presents its case, Ezra's attorney, Deja Vishni, takes the risky step of calling her client to the stand. I thought it was really interesting when she was asked to spell her name, how happy she got and how she lit up. She was kind of smiling like, yeah, this is me. I get to talk about me now.
Good morning. Would you state your name and spell it for the record, please?
My name is Ezra McCandless. EMEZRAMCCANDLESS.
Ezra's childhood friend Julia says she's seen this version of Ezra before, a young woman who craved attention. Sound familiar? So when questioned about this, Ezra says, I tried on a few names but found ultimately that Ezra fit perfectly for who I am.
I guess the first question I'm going to ask you is, why Ezra McCandless? Why that name?
Why Ezra McCandless? Well, I have gone through a lot of changes in my life regarding identity and what really fits me. And I tried on a few names, but I found ultimately that Ezra fit perfectly for who I am.
What was your birth name?
My birth name was Monica J.
And did your name eventually become the last name Carlin?
Yes.
Okay. So why did you decide why you changed your last name?
I changed my last name, not to change my last name because of family's sake, but I changed it because of the name McCandless is from an individual named Christopher McCandless from Into the Wild, he's known for. And his love for nature, his philosophies for life, they were very in tune and aligned with who I am. So I honored him by taking his last name.
In the court cases, her demeanor during the trial was very relaxed. She was much softer than any of the photographs that had been seen of her on the Instagram pages. And so Veja Vishni, the defense attorney, asks, "How much do you weigh?" And Ezra laughs and says, "I roughly weigh between 115 and 120 pounds. Andrea Nodolf says she was in pink and, trying to be very meek and very timid." Now, I know that this is probably not very conclusive evidence, like how much she weighed, what she was wearing, but this is all evident or all very important when you're trying to put a case together. While most individuals cherish a constant and stable self-image, you see narcissists deviate from this norm. They don't. Okay, so they're lacking in a firm sense of self. This is often rooted in their profound insecurities.
Have you talked to any of the doctors about this? What happened?
No.
Okay, well, that's probably going to be a good place to talk.
They resort to crafting diverse personas tailored to specific situations. This tactic serves as an escape from their perceived shortcoming, enabling them to manipulate others and also to satisfy their constant craving for attention. They want to impress others and boost their fragile ego. In addition to their fragile self-image, narcissists are always looking for people's attention, their admiration. They try to appear more interesting, more accomplished, or unique than they really feel.
Testified during Ezra's trial, and as he approached the bench, Ezra almost appeared a bit flustered by his extravagance. All professionalism went out the window, while she appeared to simply adore his presence, cracking smiles and making awkward, intimate eye contact as he answered his questions.
And by switching their identities, they can tailor their image to appeal to whoever is around them, basically liking them. It's kind of like wearing different clown noses for different clowns. They want to make everyone feel like they are the ones who get the real them. So you see, at the heart of these motivations lies a fundamental truth, my friends. Narcissists perpetually crave control, and adopting various identity is one method of attaining it. By showcasing different facets of themselves, they can shape other people's perceptions, manipulating them to conform to their desires and increase their likelihood of achieving their objectives. This control mechanism acts as a barrier, preventing others from getting too close and unveiling the authentic person hidden under this multitude of masks. And this is indeed what Ezra really was trying to achieve here. Like, she said that she wasn't sure about her sexuality, whilst that isn't a narcissistic thing. What we can see is that she was very uncomfortable in her own skin. So it's almost as though she was trying to be a different person. She changed her name from Ezra. I think her name was like a Monica. And so she got fixated on this novel and changed her surname to McCandless. She got fixated on this book that she was reading, Into the Wild. So she changed her name into Ezra McCandless. And a narcissist do this. You see, right at the beginning of the relationship, they love bomb you. They present this thing, this person that they are, that they're not really that.
I'm going to ask you about meeting Alex.
All right. Yes.
Why don't you tell us how you met Alex Woodworth?
I met Alex Woodworth one night when I noticed him. He was writing alone inside a bar called The Joint. He just seemed very focused, and I thought it was interesting that he was alone amongst all these people, so focused on his writing. Alex and I started slow. We held hands, we hugged, and we shared a few kisses, and then eventually we became partners.
With you.
Yes, he had cut a pair of my pants. I decided then to knee him in the groin. Instantly, I grabbed the knife.
And you see, this is exactly what Ezra was doing in this case. She was trying to make everyone feel sorry for her. Meek and mild. She had dyed her hair. Like, she looked completely different to like her Instagram post or how she was at school. You know, like she was wearing pink, this soft touch to be kind of a lot more feminine. So people couldn't associate her doing this type of crime. So you see, in the end, my friend, Ezra McCandless, I want to say, so also added to the fact, like what she had said to the parents of Alex Woodworth, the guy that she had killed. This is her heartfelt statement. She says, I want to say how sorry I am that I have lost their son, but sorry doesn't cut it in my mind. I loved Alex very much, and I also feel a great loss. I am so sorry. And Judge James Peterson made a point of saying that he did not feel Ezra's courtroom apology was sincere. He then sentenced her to life in prison. I think she must serve a minimum of 50 years before she is eligible for parole. Narcissists don't feel emotions the same way that we do. Narcissists do experience emotional distress, but their response is different from those of others, the way that we would. Their emotional pain that they undergo is often linked to their inherent self-centered desires.
When you were stabbing him, were you trying to kill him?
I just wanted him to go away.
Okay.
I wouldn't go away.
Beneath the facade of superiority and entitlement, they frequently grapple with the feelings of emptiness, powerlessness, and shame, which they perceive as vulnerabilities. Fearful of these distressing emotions, narcissists harbor a strong inclination to control them. Instead of being able to experience them, they want to control them because they see them as vulnerable. Their behaviors serve as defense measures aimed at averting emotional pain, such as assuming superiority when feeling inferior or projecting confidence to basically mask all of these feelings of undesirability.
Cracking smiles and making awkward, intimate eye contact as he answered his questions.
Is the person you know as Ezra McCandless in the courtroom today?
Yes.
So what they do is they employ denial, anger, and blaming others helps them to deflect accountability, distorting reality to absolve themselves of any type of pain, which is exactly what Ezra was doing. And so added to that, narcissists will fake emotional pain as a manipulation tactic to influence others. Now, what I do want to say is that this is a very sad case of what happened to all of the parties involved. There was like 3 men that were involved in this case. Alex, Mengel, and John. You see, all of them had been affected in some way, even though Mengel and John Henson had a kind of escape with their lives. Alex wasn't so lucky. So what I will say is that Ezra shows really strong narcissistic tendencies. But one thing that you have to remember is I'm not diagnosing her. I'm not saying like, yeah, she is one, but she does have strong tendencies like what I have outlined in this video. But you see, this is a real example of how someone manages to lie their way out of it. Narcissists are not motivated to tell you the truth, or anybody, because they want to absolve themselves from any type of blame. Because if you take responsibility for the blame, you've got to do something about it. And a narcissist isn't going to accept responsibility for their behavior. So what I will say is, yeah, narcissists are killers. Narcissists can do this to protect their own sense of self. They will do anything that will make them look good, and they will kill, even if it makes them look good. So guys, I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope that this has given you more insight into understanding like how dangerous or how manipulative narcissistic behavior really is. If you are going through this, please know that I do offer one-to-one consultations. We also have a Discord server, which is absolutely free for you to join. Please see the link in the description box. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.